Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see here on our channel, our website, or social media. Reach out to me directly, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. While I am normally a fan of white metals, Rolex experimented with yellow gold and sharp contrasts on this watch to spectacular effect, and this 116518 LN Oyster Perpetual Cosmograph Daytona is my favorite Oysterflex Cosmograph. Let's start with the basics. 40 millimeters in yellow gold. The case is remarkably thin at 12.2 millimeters thick. 47.6 millimeters from lug to lug. The spacing between the lugs is 20 millimeters. Let's throw it on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist and get a sense of the sizing. The timepiece is comfortable. It's very well fit thanks to the flexible inner bellows of the Oysterflex strap bracelet, and I can recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. It is low and it will fit underneath the cuff, so a yellow gold Rolex should be able to pull double duty as a dress watch, and indeed this one can. You can see the span across the wrist is quite reasonable, and the timepiece feels substantial in spite of the fact that it's lacking the usual bracelet normally paired with a Cosmograph. The Oysterflex itself is a bracelet, as there is a titanium alloy band that runs through both sides, so you can't cut it and you can't accidentally tear it, which is actually a nice thing. It should give you some peace of mind. It does mean you need to select the right size at the time of purchase. Now, that Bellows system I mentioned, because there are a couple of different sizes of Oysterflex, you might not have a perfect match to wrist size. So the Bellows system has a spring action that cinches and basically takes up any slack. It also allows the wrist to vent as it creates an air pocket, and on a hot day, much welcome. You'll appreciate that there is a taper to the strap. There's also a swell in profile, so it nicely matches the profile of the case, and there's a conforming end link added by Rolex, so it seems just as integrated as the bracelet. There's a strake on the top, that central spine, giving it some definition and articulation. There is a full milled out clasp with a double locking system. You can see the beak and the hook, that locks shut, and then the clamshell. There's a little kerf underneath the crown so you can dig in your nail and easily pop it open. Satin finish on the flanks, straight through polish, and then polished flanks. There is an Easylink 5mm adjustment system that allows you to take in or out 5 millimeters, and then you can see there are little tracks running into 3 divots drilled inside the clasp, so you have 3 different anchoring points in the clasp, so you can change the sizing using that means as well. Your strap tool will dismount the strap. Of course, the strap is a handsome looking piece with a matte black that contrasts handsomely with the satin finish and the polish of the yellow gold case. The combination of the black and gold is truly striking, and this watch, despite being a little bit more extravagant than my typical taste for platinum, white gold, steel, titanium, it would be my choice from the strap-clad Daytonas precisely because the different elements contrast and complement each other so well. There are screw-down crowns, including a Rolex triplock crown in gold. You know it's a triplock in gold because of the 3 dots with the center one being larger. 100-meter water resistance. We have all polished lines. This is anything but a Rolex super case. You've seen those squared off profile lugs on the GMT and the sheer sides of a Explorer 2 or a Sub. This is not that. We have those lovely sinuous, sensuous, compound curved lines, all of high polish with a flame-like effect on the light across the surface of the case. The bezel is polished Rolex Cerachrome ceramic, so it's very scratch resistant, effectively acting as a heat shield to the rest of the watch. The indices, the numerals, and the letters are actually filled with the yellow gold deposit for contrast, sapphire crystal, of course, and then a dial that is absolutely sensational. The first thing I should mention about it is that it's a matte black. It's not gloss like the bezel, so it contrasts in a subtle and beautiful fortune with the bezel. The fashion of the contrast is similar to that you'll see on the registers, which are a matte gold rather than a sharp metallic gold like a sunburst style. No, they're more of a matte gold. They have an azurage or concentric circular pattern inboard, and there are a few well-chosen red splashes on this dial. You'll note applique yellow gold indices, yellow gold hands, yellow gold crown, but the minute and second hash track outboard is in red, and then there is the red shock of Daytona and the red lacquered seconds hand. It's a really good looking dial. You'll also find that the black minutes hand against the yellow base is easy to read, so as a chronograph it succeeds. Solid case back, it's like a gold dollar that acts as your case back. It's a heavy, it's a massive, it's a substantial component, that gold case back, and it makes the watch thinner than if it had a display case back. What's inside? Rolex caliber 4130, manufacturer movement, introduced in 2000, 44 jewels, bidirectional automatic winding for smoothness. It was the first Rolex movement to use a bearing instead of a jeweled staff for the rotor, so it's more shock resistant. A full balance bridge and a free sprung index make it even more shock resistant. It has a 72-hour power reserve, and it's been adjusted so that it meets the COSC standard. It is a COSC chronometer, but Rolex then cases up the COSC movement and tests it to run no worse than -2 + 2 seconds per day. That is the superlative chronometer standard, above and beyond. Now, the watch beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and it has a vertical clutch and a column wheel tandem. The column wheel making for sharp, great feeling, great sounding actuation, and the vertical clutch for a smooth, play-free engagement of the chronograph seconds hand. You can also leave it running on a full-time basis if you prefer. The overcoil hairspring, which is made by hand, allows the watch to keep excellent time in any position, but it's also made of a parachrome blue niobium zirconium alloy that allows the watch to be highly anti-magnetic. So it's shock resistant, water resistant, and anti-magnetic. All of those qualities in one watch. It also features a stop seconds function. If you pull the crown all the way out, it will stop the balance, and you can set the watch to the second against a reference time. If you love this watch, and I can tell you I do, email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And we're back with the Daytona by Night, Rolex's proprietary Chromolite Blue Lume.